Take us through the details, first of all, of this Senate bill and what it actually means for Chinese companies.
Good morning, Nara. Yeah, from the Senate chamber to the White House, we're really seeing China in the crosshairs of the U.S. government yesterday. There's three big things that went on yesterday. And first, as you say, let's start in the Senate chambers. Overwhelmingly, these lawmakers voted for this legislation that would mean that companies have to certify that they are not under the control of a foreign government. Now, everyone's talking about China because this could mean that companies like Baidu or Alibaba could be barred from listing on a U.S. stock exchange. Now, one of the senators, John Kennedy, a Louisiana Republican, he introduced this bill. He says, I don't want to get into a new Cold War, but I want China to play by the rules. Then, ramping up escalation, as you mentioned there, showing President Donald Trump's tweets there. Normally, we would see President Donald Trump take a very tough stance on Beijing, but sometimes would reach his hand out to Xi personally, even sometimes speaking glowingly about President Xi Jinping. He did not do that yesterday evening. That tweet suggested that President Xi is the one behind this disinformation campaign on the U.S. and on Europe. He said it all comes from the top. And lastly, that tweet came after the White House issued a report to Congress. This comes from the national security agencies, and it was obtained by Bloomberg News, and outlines familiar criticism of Beijing. We're talking about intellectual property theft, economic protectionism, and human rights abuses. That came yesterday, that document. But following that document, the real bombshell was more so President Donald Trump's tweet.